Hi everyone, this is AtYourServiss with OTBStamping.com, and I am a bit overexcited to be coming to you today with a brand new product from Stampin' Up. It's called Stampin Blends. Now some of you may have been with us a couple years ago when Stampin' Up marketed a product called Blendabilities. But they realized shortly after the release that they had to recall them because they just didn't meet their high standards. So they have been searching now ever since then to find a new manufacturer who could produce the quality product that we insist on. So let me introduce that product, Stampin Blends. So this is the entire collection. I loved Blendabilities, and I was sad to see them have to be recalled, so I knew from the get-go that I was going to love this product, and it has not disappointed me. As you can see, you have a huge array of colors, and then there's also a bronze highlighter, or I should say a bronze blends. This is a color lifter. I'll show you how that works in a bit, and this is the ivory. So they actually come in pairs, so you get a dark and a light of each color, and they are dual tip markers, so they have a large tip and a small tip. I'll show you this a little closer. So here's your, there we go, large tip. The magic of camera, but I don't know how to use it. There, that's what I think I wanted to show you. Large tip. Oh my goodness. And I want you to hear this. That click, that's important. Here's the small one. Maybe I can put them down here. You can see them better. Oh, yes. This is the small tip or the right tip. And again, you want to hear that little click? That's important because these are alcohol markers. If you don't cap them immediately, they will dry out quicker. So you want to make sure that you don't forget to do that. So with blends, you are going to be able to blend your colors in such a beautiful way that you're going to be so impressed. So let me show you a bit how the blends work. Let me clear my space here. I'm actually going to keep the color lifter, and I'm going to keep out several of these. So I want the pumpkin, the cobbler, the old olive, the daffodil delight. I think that's going to be everything. Oh, and the gray. Oh, and the and the dark and light crumb cake. Not really sure which gray. I'm going to go with the light gray. I don't think I'm going to need both of them. Okay, so here's the ones I'm going to be working with. Alright, so I am going to bring in this piece of paper. This actually measures 2 5/8 by 2 5/8. I've actually cut this out using, actually you don't even need the measurement, all you need to know is that I cut it out using the largest of the stitched squares, or it's actually called stitched shapes framelits, and I'm using the largest square. Okay, then I'm going to bring in some Memento ink. It's important that you use the Memento ink when you're using the blends, and that's because these are alcohol based, not water based like our regular Stampin' Right markers. So you need the Memento ink so that they will not bleed. So I'm going to bring in my Basket of Wishes stamp set, and so I'm going to stamp the basket. Oh, forgot to bring in my piercing mat, but that was lucky. That stamped pretty good. I'm going to bring it in here for the second part of this. Now I'm going to ink up the top part of the basket, I'm going to stamp some vegetables. And I want to make sure I'm fitting that in between the basket. There we go. Handles. Perfect. So here you have the picture that I want to color. I'm going to zoom in on that. There, that should be good. Be able to see that pretty good, I think. And I'm going to start by using my yellows. I like to start with my lighter colors first. And so I'm going to just take the lightest Daffodil Delight. I'm going to color in some of the squash. Okay. Again, listen for that click. Then I'm going to come in with the darker Daffodil Delight, and I'm going to put some highlights in. So where you see the dark lines in the images from Stampin' Up, you can know that those are going to be complemented when you color those with the darker ink. So in the areas that are highlighted with that dark marker, that's where you're going to want to put your darker ink. Now to blend it, you can then also go back with your lighter color and just blend those together. Okay, next I'm going to use my pumpkin. And I'm going to color in my entire pumpkin. Now you can leave some white space. Maybe I'll do that in the center there. Leave a little bit of white space. I'm not good at remembering to do white space, but it does make a big difference when you're coloring. So there, left a little bit. Now I'm going to come back in with my lighter pumpkin pie. I'm just going to blend those colors together. So pretty. All right, need some greens. Now I'm mostly using the small end, what I call the writing tip, to color with. That's simply because I have a small image to color. If I had a larger canvas, then I would probably go using the larger tip where I could actually paint. Okay, I'm having a hard time with this click. Make sure, there we go, that you hear that click. All right, and then I'm going to add some dark color. It may be a little hard for you to see the detail in this particular design simply because it is so small, but I will, I think you'll be able to see it a little bit better as well when I start on the basket. A little bit as I'm going to add some red to my fall leaves here, actually cherry cobbler, and then I'm going to mix that with the dark pumpkin pie. I'm going to add some dark pumpkin to my pumpkins. And then I'm going to take my crumb cake, add a little bit of crumb cake to my stems. And then I have my dark crumb cake. I'm also, while I've got it out, going to add it to the shadows over here on my basket. Any place where I see those darker squiggly lines, I'm just going to add some dark crumb cake. I'm going to add some down here as well and up here. Alright. And I'm going to bring in my light. Now here I can use my actual paintbrush. I'm just going to come in and color that area in between, blend those darker colors. You can see how you can really shade a lot with these blender pens, and very quickly. You just barely touch the paper. It's just different than coloring with markers that I can't really explain too well until you actually get these into your own hands. So I want some of this gray, I want like this to actually be sitting on some shadow. So I'm just going to color that in a bit and give that some shadow to the basket. And then just to color in whatever I am missing here. So a little bit of color on my leaves. There's a couple things you can do if you don't have enough contrast in your coloring. I just would like a little bit more contrast in the top of my pumpkin there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this color lifter, and I'm just going to go sort of where the top of the pumpkin, where the sun would shine on it. And I'm just going to use this color lifter, and you aren't going to see anything right away, but little by little it will start to wash some of that color away and blend it in. It's pretty cool. I don't know if you'll be able to see that on the video. Hopefully you will. I'm also going to add a little bit, I think, of the green to my squash here, just where those dark lines are. Give that a little bit more dimension. There we go, like that. I think I'll add some here as well. Okay, are you starting to see the effect of coloring with the blender pens? I just think that they are superb. Let's see if I can't get you in a little closer here. So I'm still feeling a little bit like where that white space is on the top of my pumpkin. Not sure that I like that, so I think what I'm going to do is just blend it with some of the light pumpkin. I'm going to show you the finished product. So I'm going to bring in, oh, that reminds me, you'll notice that this bleeds through. So you can't make this a card that's just one layer. It's going to need to have something behind it in order for you to be able to use it without your recipient seeing the back of it. So I'm actually going to mount it on a piece of paper, pumpkin pie that measures 2 7/8 by 7/8. So let me show you real quick this sample, then we'll finish the card. But I wanted to show you, so this sample I was originally going to have this be a single layer card, and then I realized that can't be because of this inside. But while I have this here, let me just mention this. If you're thinking to yourself, well, I have markers, I don't really need the blends, I want you to look at something. So this is done with the blends, and this is done with my markers. So you can see such a vivid difference in the two of them. I personally would choose this one as my favorite. So if you're thinking that to yourself, well, I don't really need the blends, just think of that it will make a huge difference in the quality of your coloring. Okay, so back to this one. So one of the things I wanted to show you with the making of this card, did I show you the funny? I don't think I actually showed you the finished card. So let me do that real quick. So this is what it's going to look like when it's done. Cute, right? Love this. Now I'm going to bring in my ribbon punch and a piece of Peekaboo Peach. And I want to show you a little fun trick with this. So one of the things you want to make sure is, as you're doing this, is that this piece here is pushed right up against this bar. And then you can punch. Now you may need to stand up and put some real pressure on it, but it does work pretty easily. And then you're going to notice there's a design here, and there's the design that's being punched out. You're going to line that up, again making sure that this piece is pushed back against that border. Once that's lined up, you can push again, line it up again, making sure this side is tight to the back. And you can keep sliding that down and matching up the design and punching until you have a piece that's at least 5.5 inches long. Now I measured that paper at 8.5, so that should be plenty. And what we're going to do is bring in my silicone craft sheet and this piece that I've added a little strip of pumpkin pie cardstock to the edge here. And then I'm simply going to take this, actually release that from the paper. Okay, turn that little tiny bit off. Now, normally you would think that I would be adding it this direction, which you can, but you can also turn it over and just get those little tiny scallops. So you can do that either way that you would like. So I'm going to go ahead and do the scallop piece, as that's what I taught in class, in the Stampers Club class this past month. And then I'm just going to simply trim that away. There we go. All right, then I'm going to bring this in and I'm going to add with my adhesive. Add it to my card front. And this again is the thick Whisper White cardstock. And on there like that. I think I may have a little tiny overlap, which I do. So I'm just going to turn that over, trim that off. Okay. Then I also fell in love with some of the little vintage ribbon that was in the holiday catalog. It is called Vintage Crochet Trim. You can see that. It's really pretty. So I've cut a piece of that I want to add to my card. About right there. I think I like it there. So you can do this one of two ways. You can either add it using adhesive sheets, or you could add it using glue dots. I think I'm actually going to use the adhesive sheets. So here I have a piece of the adhesive sheets. Now this actually comes in a sheet of 12 by 12, but I just need a little piece of it, so I'm going to do it this way. So I'm just going to peel this back. And add my ribbon. Okay, so now the back of my ribbon is completely sticky. I'm going to bring my card back in, peel this off, and you'll see that it's coming with the stick from the adhesive sheet. Then I'm just going to pull this tight and add it to my card. Okay, and then just from the back, I'm just going to trim that and trim that. There we go. Like how that looks. All right, then we're going to bring in another piece of the adhesive sheet, and I want to make this element right here. So I'm going to add some adhesive sheet again to the pumpkin pie cardstock. Okay, so I'm going to fit this so that the back of it is going to be the adhesive and the front of it is actually going to have the word hugs. I'm going to run this through my Big Shot. Okay, so after running it through the Big Shot, it'll come out, it's going to look like this. And then you're just going to pull the outside pieces away. Take your paper snips and push out any pieces that didn't come out on their own. You can actually use a paper piercer for this, whatever you happen to have handy, and I'm just going to trim that off. Okay, so now we have the word hugs and we have sticky on the back. How cool is that? Because that can be a little tricky when you have small things like this as to how you're going to glue them on. Now you could use some fine tip glue or even the multi-purpose Tombow glue, but this just is easier for me. So now I'm just going to peel that off the back and add it to my card. Go. Okay, so then the little dimensionals on the back of my piece here. Oops. Add this to my card. I'm thinking right there looks pretty good. And then you can also, it's just a final pop, you can bring in these black rhinestone jewels, new in the holiday catalog, and I absolutely love them. I sure hope they keep them, but you know, you never know about that, so if you like them, get them now. The holiday catalog will end, I want to say off the top of my head, January 1st, 2nd, somewhere in there. So I would not procrastinate. I would stock up on them now, because chances are they were only introduced for Halloween and they may not be continued. So, ooh, I've got one stuck to my finger. Let's get that one. Cute. Okay, I think I like that. all done. So what do you think? Do you like the Stampin' Blends, and do you like the way that they can make your message, your images pop with color? I just think that they're really pretty. I love the way this card shows them off. And there you have it. I am just ecstatic that Stampin' Up! Has found a manufacturer that can make these, produce these to the standard that we needed them. So thank you, Stampin' Up! For not giving up on the blends. I love them. If you've liked this tutorial, I hope that you'll leave me a thumbs up on my YouTube channel and a comment if you have one. Also, I'd love for you to come and visit me at www.otobstamping.com. So thanks for stopping in today, and hope you come back again soon.